Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs Podcast, the Brewers make a shocking move this morning. What does it mean for the Cubs, if anything? Plus, we're ranking the division catchers. How do the Cubs stack up in the Central? Football is over. Baseball is back. Cubs over everything. CHGO Cubs next.
What do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast on a Monday. Let's have a great week. Jump in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman, Luke Stuckmeyer, and Sarah on the ones and twos.
Go Cubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday. The first spring training game is in 13 days.
Woo.
Opening days in 45 days,
Woo.
Luke. It feels good. This is our time. It is time to lock in on baseball season.
I just want everybody to know that I will be showing up to spring training in the best shape of my life.
Oh, yeah?
That's what every player says. That's what they all say. He's here. Have you seen him? He's in the best shape of his life. He's never been this good.
I'd like to
that's
report
how we will show up.
I'm reporting to spring training, adding 15 pounds of something. It could be muscle. I'm not sure.
That's
Rally
right.
cake, possibly.
Rally cake.
That's right. I'm gonna be more like the overweight first baseman that kind of limps into spring training and says, "I'm
John
here."
Buck.
Pete and Convelia.
Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs. That's right. Hey, first of all, I am excited about what's happening. We had obviously the Super Bowl last night. We can talk briefly about that because it was an absolute snooze fest. But it always signals to me football is done. Turn your attention, skip right over the Bulls and the Blackhawks. Let's move on to baseball season. And you're right. 2 days till pitchers and catchers have to report, but almost everybody's there. And we will be too, because our big news that we're coming into the show with, which we've had a couple days, just so people that, are new to the show, March 5th through 8th, you can come with us. CHGO road trip to spring training in Arizona. You can go to Cup. We got a kind of a la carte deal if you go to our website. Presented by our friends at Shady Rays. They set the whole thing up for us. We're going to fly out to Arizona. We're going to stay in a hotel. We're going to Sloan Park to see some Cubs games. We're going to have a golf outing, and that'll be with all the All-City teams out there. So we might have some Rockies people in the golf tournament, but it's going to be CHGO Cubs, the diehards, whoever signs up and go. There might be some Sox fans going. It's going to be an all-city golf tournament that you can go to. Plus, the Bulls happen to play the Suns out there. And even though you won't recognize a single name other than Modest on the Bulls, you can go to that game with us because, you know what? The NBA's playing. Why not go? You never know what you're going to see. So get signed up.
It's going to be awesome.
Get excited about this, right?
I'm so excited.
You guys ready for that? I am ready for that trip after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, also, what a juxtaposition of the Super Bowl being a snooze fest. I agree. I remember how good the World Series was. I mean, the World Series was awesome. Maybe one of the best ones, 7 games. And I mean, it was down to the wire, an inch away from the Toronto Blue. I mean, that was such a good World Series. It's just a snooze fest of a Super Bowl. And yeah, I'm with you. Baseball is here, and there's nothing better about starting a new season in spring training. I love Arizona. There's never a bad day. And the fact that this trio here, we get to kind of cover 3 Cubs games down there. There is a Sox game. There's a Bulls game. There's a big old golf outing. Tons of bars and restaurants and meet and greets we have. I'm looking forward to a nice boys trip. It's going to be really, really fun for us to kind of bond and everything. And I mean, obviously girls are allowed, but I'm saying us 3 being dudes kind of getting out there and getting after it in Arizona.
Yeah, that's what they say, Luke. A nice long road trip early in the season brings the team together. And Luke, Justin, you're bringing up a great point where, as we wipe away the fog a little bit of the football season, which I still, by the way, have my Iceman hoodie on for the first time ever.
Nice.
As I say goodbye.
Better than Drake May, by the way.
Yeah, you know what I said yesterday 45 times? Yeah, Caleb would have made that throw. Anyways, I digress. But no, like you're bringing up a really great point that last year's baseball season was incredibly entertaining, filled with superstars, guys rising like Pete Crow Armstrong, Cal Raleigh breaking records. Of course, the headliner Shohei Ohtani with a fantastic World Series. I know it's been a long winter, and I know that we talk a lot about the looming maybe labor stoppage, but this baseball season is going to be so fun and so entertaining. And what better than having a really good Cubs team to go with it? And that starts at spring training March 5th and March 8th. So join us.
Yeah, football season was exciting until we got to the Super Bowl, and then it wasn't exciting. And one thing I'm looking forward to at the spring training trip, I wasn't going to announce this, but there will be a rattlesnake competition. Who can catch a rattlesnake with their bare hands first? And so I'll be excited to see which one of you guys is able. I'm not participating in it, but you guys, we're going to put you in a ring with a bunch of rattlesnakes. Who can grab a rattlesnake by the neck first?
I got to tell you, we went for our baby moon. We went to Arizona, me and my wife, right? Went to Arizona. She's like 8 months pregnant. And we did 5 hikes. I give her credit, 5 hikes, right? But some of those hikes, like there's signs that are like, beware of rattlesnakes. And I wasn't ready for that. I'm like, wait a second, wait, what? Like there's like rattles, and then they're giving you advice about like, don't look it in the eye. And I'm, oh my God, like it became very, very real. So I will not be participating in the rattlesnake contest. I'm out.
It's my greatest fear in life.
Rattlesnake?
Yeah, snakes. I think they should all be destroyed. I don't understand their purpose. They have no purpose on the planet. They don't have legs, so I don't like it. They're hard to disable.
The only snake we love is Jake the Snake, Jake Arrieta.
No.
That's a cool snake. Besides
that's
that,
good.
they're all gone.
Bad nickname. Don't like it. I'm terrified of them. I hate it.
Hey, what I did like was this trade, by the way. The Brewers, that's surprising to me. A guy that finishes – we talk about, as Cubs fans, people are worried whether or not they'll trade Matt Shaw, which is also linked to this story. But like the guy that finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting in the National League, right behind Cade Horton, was just traded by the Brewers. They got Durbin in that Devin Williams deal, right? And so he was there 1 year, finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, and poof, he's gone. And the one thing that scares me about it is, listen, I don't know who's really the third baseman for the Brewers. What scares me is they got a pitcher back in this Harrison kid that was once the best left-handed pitching prospect in baseball. And they always find a way to make it work. And they were willing to do this deal. And so they sold high on this kid they got and had a good season for him. But now if they can add to the Miz and Woodruff and Priester, he's going to be in the mix for their starting rotation. We could talk about what it means for the Cubs, but it'll be interesting to see what it means for the Brewers, who seem to be stocking up on young players again while also trying to compete, which is what they do.
Yeah, my other interpretation of it was they have some confidence and belief in Jet Williams from the Mets trade. And we're not even mentioning what's Sprout or whatever, the other pitching prospect that they have. Look, this is what they do. I rarely have empathy for Milwaukee Brewers fans, but you can't help but sometimes think like, are they numb to this now? That like the guys that they get excited about, maybe the guy they think about maybe buying the jersey for, as you said, finishing 3rd in NL Rookie of the Year. See ya. Moving on, doing something else. But yeah, I mean, Jet Williams or this pitcher, I think it's interesting, Justin, that the return for that player clearly, I think, though, is at least a step below what we were discussing if it were to be a Matt Shaw, if it were to be a Nico Hoerner.
Yeah.
So clearly Boston didn't feel like they wanted to meet that asking price.
Right.
Cubs stayed pretty firm. They didn't move off of it, and this is the move that the Red Sox ended up making.
And from a Cubs standpoint, I'm thrilled that they didn't meet our demands, because we had said last time I was on the show with you guys that they had to blow us away. Yeah. And okay, maybe Jed wasn't blown away. And so I said no. And I think the Cubs are a better team with keeping Matt Shaw. I've been very vocal about that. I think we don't even know what his ceiling is. And I think that, we are a better team this year and in the future for keeping both Nico and Matt Shaw. But I mean, Brewers, listen, man, they lost their, Luke, you're right. They got, another guy that might be great, but like at the end of the day, like they lost their ace, Freddie Peralta. And, the Miz, I don't know what to think about the Miz because like we saw him be great. We saw him be horrible. So he hasn't proven to me that I have way more confidence in Cade Horton than I do in the Miz. I'll tell you that right now.
Too.
So, okay, we'll see what happens. For me, it looks like they're kind of retooling on the fly. Whereas the Cubs are all in, we're going to take the division and never let it go is what I'm seeing with these two teams.
I looked at the trade and I thought, wow, they're trading this young third baseman and who finished third in the National League Rookie of the Year voting. And then I thought, if Shaw had put together a whole season of the second half, obviously he would have been in that mix, right? Like he actually would have been in the conversation for National League Rookie of the Year with Cade Horton. Now, if he put together a first half and doubled it with the second half, he would not be in the mix. The Cubs weren't willing to do the deal. The Brewers were. Who will be the better prospect moving forward? Will it be Durbin or is it going to be Matt Shaw? I don't know, but I agree with Corey Seacrest in the chat who says the Brewers always seem to know something before we do. And so it does scare me a little bit that they sold high on this kid. And that's sort of for the people that want to trade Matt Shaw. A lot of them are wondering, should we trade high? Even Nico too, the same way. People that are saying, well, you're not going to sign Nico maybe. And his value is as good as it's going to get. And maybe Shaw too, because nothing's been proven one way or another. The Brewers aren't afraid to do that. The Brewers aren't afraid to do it. And sometimes I think the Cubs are slow to do that.
The part that I think that there's two ways to look at this is the first one is when we talk about the Brewers versus the Cubs. I think from a Brewers perspective, I think that they have a conviction and confidence to move off of a player like Caleb Durbin because they believe that they can replicate that result. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They think they can bring in Jet Williams and it's not going to skip a beat, right? They think that they can find the next 5'7" dirt bag baseball player. Right. I really think that they do, right? Where I think that the Cubs, on the other hand, don't really put themselves in that position. And I think we've been a little critical of that this offseason it isn't, it's one thing to have the 4 or 5 names that we talk about all the time at the top of the farm system, but the middle of the farm system probably could use a little bit more of some depth and more development, where the Brewers have the confidence to say, we can get rid of this guy now and we'll be fine. Where the Cubs are like, well, if we get rid of this guy right now, like a Matt Shaw, can we find another one in our system and replace him? I think that the confidence levels are different. In terms of the two players, is very quickly, I'm taking Matt Shaw. I really am. I think both players have a similar profile. I think they both came on in the second half of the year. But there is something about, and Luke, I mean, it wasn't just anything where heading into last year, a lot of people thought Matt Shaw was going to compete for Rookie of the Year. And I think in the second half, he began to flash what that potential can possibly look like. But when you combine the defense and what I think is still untapped potential that flashed in the second half, I give Matt Shaw a little bit of the edge right now, even though Caleb Durbin turned himself into a pretty good player last year, and hopefully he works out for the Red Sox.
I think that Matt Shaw is being underappreciated because he's still young. I mean, PCA 2 years ago wasn't PCA we saw in the first half of last year, right? I mean, like, don't forget, there's a whole trajectory of this kind of thing, right? So I'm looking forward to big things from Matt Shaw. And, honestly, with a safer landing spot, with the way he's going to be utilized now, with, we talked about maybe him getting 400 at-bats by spelling some guys, when the DH comes around, like all these different things of him plugging into the lineup, not having to be the guy might benefit him in the long run, And then one more thing about the Milwaukee, Chicago mindset, Milwaukee has to do these kind of things to compete. The Cubs have financial flexibility and strength to be like, I want Alex Bregman, I'm getting Alex Bregman, right? Yeah. The Milwaukee doesn't have that, so they kind of have to do the Freddie Peralta. They can't afford for Peralta to walk for nothing. They can't do that kind of stuff. So the mindset of Milwaukee is different than the mindset of Jed Hoyer and the front office in Chicago.
All right, so as we head to break, the question is for the chat and everybody on this panel, the three of us, What does it mean for the Cubs, the Brewers trade? Are they connected? And does it mean that Shaw and Nico are here to stay? But first, a word from our sponsors at CHGO. Pay attention to this. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, finds and fixes problems before you even know you have them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And it lets you stream the games even while the whole family is online doing something else. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part: no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from me, a lot could change in 5 years. So lock in your price. Unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restriction apply. Look at this. I'm streaming you guys in the show right now, and it's beautiful. Beautiful. Doesn't matter that 7 kids are on tablets.
Hey, Luke, you know the baseball season's it's a long year, so I got to bulk up and I got to hulk up right now, and I'm starting this month off strong with premium portion proteins from Omaha Steaks.
Whoa.
Everybody stay satisfied and get that energy and fuel your routine with premium prepackaged protein delivered to your door with Omaha Steaks. Right now, you can get an extra $35 off at omahasteaks.com when you use the promo code Cubs, CUBS, at the checkout. And, buddy, it doesn't stop there. I got these juicy, beautiful jumbo franks at home. My wife loves the burgers cooked to perfection, the apple tartlets for dessert. It doesn't stop there. Omaha Steaks, it's been America's original butcher since 1917. It's a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. And did I mention those mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, dessert, whatever you want, it's ready to roll. So let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com. Get that extra $35 only if you use the promo code Cubs, CUBS, at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code Cubs. Terms apply. See site for details today. Coming back on the CHGO Cubs podcast here, Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman, Sarah on the ones and twos, and Luke Stuckmeyer on the other side of the break. We're talking a little Matt Shaw, and now that Caleb Durbin is the infielder of choice, perhaps for the Boston Red Sox.
I think by default.
Not
of choice, by default.
Yeah, I think it's the parting gift, if you will, for what they tried to do this offseason.
Yeah.
Now that Matt Shaw might be off the books, Luke, I got to ask you, it's day 27 of the Do Not Trade Nico Hoerner campaign. Can we declare victory?
I think we declare victory up to the trade deadline for now. I think they're both here at least up to the trade deadline. Whatever happens after that, like if Matt Shaw has some spectacular first half of the season, maybe the Cubs think, well, we can move on from Nico and still fill that void, or we just don't know where the teams are going to be and where the Cubs are going to be or who's healthy. But for now, I think they're definitely both in the fold. They're both going to be here on opening day, which is, I know what Justin wanted.
Yeah.
And I do wonder for the Brewers, like, hey, where was their pecking order for what they wanted? The reason I think that Shaw and Nico are definitely better than Durbin is, I think that was a late choice for the Red Sox. The names that we heard the Cubs sort of asking for in a trade with the Red Sox seemed much more impressive than the return. If that was the return the Cubs got for Matt Shaw or Nico, I would have been mad. I'm not saying they're not getting anything because I like the pitching prospect, but it wasn't early. It wasn't their top pitching prospect. And so I look at it and say, man, they really wanted Bregman. Then they probably wanted Nico. Then they probably wanted Shaw. Then they probably wanted Suarez. And they got Durbin.
Right.
Okay, so that's what the Red Sox got. I look at this and say the Cubs are sitting in a real pretty spot. I really like having the depth going into the season. I know that's not how we saw it unfolding until they got Bregman, and we weren't sure it was going to go that way. But now that they have it, I think it could be one of the really good strengths of the team if it plays out the right way.
I think you've raised the floor on this team by keeping Matt Shaw in the super utility role, right? We thought he was our third baseman and we were going to be good, but then we got Bregman. We're better. And our floor has been raised now for keeping Shaw, I believe. And, for this year, I think we're a stronger team with Matt Shaw. But don't forget, Nico, Seiya, and Hap are all free agents at the end of the year. Matt Shaw can easily play any of those three positions. So whether you extend Nico and maybe let Hap walk, whatever it is, Matt Shaw is cost controlled for, I don't even know, 5-6 years. So he is a valuable piece to this team if he can reach his potential. And he hasn't had a full, listen, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. PCA 2 years ago wasn't PCA first half of last year. It takes time for these guys to click. Nobody comes in and becomes a superstar their first at bat, So I'm very, very happy. I think that looking back, hindsight 2020, I think looking back at the end of this year coming up, we're going to be very happy we kept Matt Shaw. And Luke, you're right. Maybe something happens where you can move one of those guys at the deadline to get a Scooble or whatever it is. Let's talk crazy, but for right now, going into the next season, we are much better off having Matt Shaw and Nico Hoerner than one or the other.
And what I like about it is the thing with the Brewers is right. Like, they're the voodoo Brewers. They're going to figure it out every year. They change up the mixture, and the mixture always comes out magically that they're leading the division or they win the division. But they continuously have to do it over and over again. You're pulling from a player that helped them have success to go to the NLCS last year. Nothing is guaranteed. They're banking on a guy like Andrew Vaughn repeating, whatever his reclamation season, his rejuvenated season last year, they're asking him to replicate that for a full 162. And just when you look through across the NL Central, just what I like about all this stuff is that if you go from team to team, Brewers did not add anybody of significance that has a proven track record. They subtracted Freddie Peralta from their team. The Cincinnati Reds did not add anyone of significance other Eugenio Suarez. The Pirates, they made some moves. Yeah, Marcelo Zuna over the weekend is going to help them. Brandon Lowe is going to help them.
They're still the Pirates.
They're still the Pirates. And the Cardinals sent everybody packing. So whatever it is, the two major moves from the Cubs this offseason trump any other move that happened in the NL Central.
Totally.
And we are still the team that won 92 games. And to our point, when we talk about guys like Matt Shaw, hopefully following the path of Pete Crow Armstrong, we're hoping that some of these younger players get better. And we're also hoping that some of these veterans in a walk year maybe have their best year yet.
Yeah.
So just when you look across the canvas of the division, it still is advantage Cubs in a lot of different areas, Luke.
Yeah. Did you say day 27 of the Don't Trade Nico
Yes,
campaign?
day 27.
So I was just about to say, let's just cancel the campaign because we don't need to do it anymore. We've won the election.
We did it! We've won.
We did it!
But just as I was about to say that and declare it, there is one other way, and but there is one other way that it could still happen. Probably not before spring training, but if a team that thinks they're going to compete for the World Series, win the World Series, loses their third baseman or second baseman or shortstop or second baseman, if they lose one of those two guys to an injury at spring training that's season ending, right? Like ACL, something horrible. Well, then the Cubs will start getting those calls again. I think the calls would die down right now. I think most teams are like, we're good.
Right.
This is the team we have. And I think the Cubs are like, we're good. But if something happens in spring training, that's the way sometimes that can come back. But I think we can stop the campaign. I think the air horn was valid, that we will see them when we get to our spring training trip, March 5th.
Now, I saw someone in the chat, I can't take credit for this, but somebody in the chat, I like that, said, can it be day one of our Extend Nico campaign? Can we flip the campaign and now, okay, we got him. Now can we extend the guy for 5 years?
I endorse that message.
Is he easier to trade?
So here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, extending Nico right now, unless you give him a no trade clause, doesn't that give him the most value anyway? Like, if you could get a reasonable deal, and that's what you want him to stay here on a reasonable deal, but it also would be something another team might give you more for if you were forced to make that move or had that luxury. Instead of a guy on an expiring deal, if you're trading a guy that's got great value, maybe that's smart too. So I would say actually extending Nico makes a ton of sense right now, even though it is possible he's not on the team next year.
My The only thing about, and you're right too. I mean, we're about to enter into spring training. A lot of stuff happens. People go up, people go down, people get sidelined, all that stuff. The only thing that I would say to that is we're getting so deep into it, and it is now day 27, and maybe it's day 1 of the Extend Nico campaign.
Yes.
The only thing that I would say to that is if there were a player to go down and they started calling the Cubs, that team better be a damn American League team. I don't want to hear anything about value in the middle of spring training when this team is primed and ready to roll. I don't want to hear they got – wow, we're really excited about the return for Nico Hoerner because they traded him to like the Mets. You know, like that's the only part is like you're and I'm with you. I think like once you get into it, sure, but like once you get in the middle of spring training, it's kind of like past the point of no return, right? He's either in or he's out. So unless it's like the Mariners or something like that, like I'm not trying to hear that, you know.
And also too, if Luke, your hypothetical situation happens, you know, everybody's going to know the Cubs have all the leverage. You know, if a team like the Mariners is desperate because their second baseman blew out his knee, I mean, we literally can set the bar up here, you know, and like do a fantasy baseball trade. If you take it, you take it. If you don't, we're good. So I think both, I truly believe Nico and Shaw are going to be on this team for opening day. And I'm really, really excited. I think the Cubs are a better team for it.
Yeah, and I just like that the other team in town subtracted their third baseman and we added third baseman. If you're just comparing positions, which we'll do later in the show with catcher, like the Cubs have increased their value at third base, which was a question mark for sure going into last season. And if you want to go back just the beginning of last year or 2 years ago, or go back to Christopher Morel, we now have a significant proven commodity at third base. And the backup play there is better than anything most likely the Cubs have had since probably Chris Bryant, right? It's Shaw. When you look at Shaw, whether you love his game or believe fully in it, is he a better play right now than Miles Masterboni as your utility guy?
Yes.
Is he better than, you know, Nick Madrigal as your utility guy? Yes. So not only have they increased finally at third base, the guarantee, basically what you have at third, they've also increased the backup plan at third base. And that versatility. So I love it. And I don't know what they're going to do with it at the trade deadline. I don't know what they'll do with it in the offseason. But right now for this year, it's a real good thing for the Cubs.
Agreed.
Yeah, great news for the Cubs. And I'm just excited to see them roll that out. I mean, you're right. We can save ourselves a lot of time, a lot of breath, and a lot of energy railing on the John Birdies of the world. And why is he getting the start and what's going on? And where do we got Willie Castro. What does this all mean? I mean, you can kind of sort of set it and forget it a little bit with the Cubs, health provided. And when you do get to the deadline, maybe you're a little bit more big fish hunting. You know what I mean? Maybe you're big name hunting out there to really that cherry, that whatever is the Aroldis Chapman that puts you over the top. If the Cubs are in position, they're not fringe moves that the Cubs would be looking at. They then would be looking at what's the thing that's really going to strike fear into the rest of the National League. And that's probably what we're thinking.
And guys, for a while, we thought Matt Shaw was going to be our starting third baseman in 2026, and we were actually okay with it, right? I mean, like I said earlier, the floor has been raised. Now we have Alex freaking Bregman as our starting third baseman probably for the next 5 years with a no-trade clause. And that means Matt Shaw this year is our super utility. The whole boat rose up. You know what I'm saying? And like, it makes us better. And I have an eye for the future as well, where it's like, you know, we got 3 spots potentially next year that are gonna be free agents, and Matt Shaw can play any of those 3 spots. So it's good for now, it's good for tomorrow, and maybe for Carter Hawkins, it's good for 2032, hopefully. But regardless, it's a very good day. I'm very happy to at least think that the Cubs are keeping both, and I'm excited.
And Luke, really quick, according to the batting practices on the internet, Nico's going to hit 40 bombs.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Justin texted us, "Whoa, this is Nico's revenge season. Here come the bombs." The one post was like, "I've never seen a batting practice from Nico Hoerner like this.
It's amazing.
Look at the power, best shape of his life. He's never looked so good."
I think he heard our podcast because, we always talk about he's perfect except for no power. He's perfect except for no power. Well, Nico found some power. And guys, I'm ready to see it firsthand on March 5th in Arizona.
Fast. Hey, go back, rewind just 1 year. At least he's not wearing an arm brace too. So we're better off than where we were a year ago at this time. And then we got a great season. All right, coming up after the break, we're going to start digging into position by position. Where do the Cubs rank in the division? Mm-hmm. We are attacking catcher. That's one of the trickiest positions for the Cubs. Where will the Cubs rank in the Central next year? Let us know what you think in the live chat. But first, a word from our sponsors here at CHGO Cubs.
Hey, Cubs fans, I know what you're thinking. You see Luke, you see me, you see Justin on the show. You're like, man, handsome guys, right? But it isn't easy. It isn't a walk in the park all day long because we have to make sure that we take care of what's going on inside our bodies. And that could be anything sometimes from low testosterone. If you got low energy, it might not just be the winter. That's why Game Day Men's Health is here to help you with your man journey. Take it from one of their customers, Josh, a friend of the show, lost over 100 pounds with the testosterone replacement from Game Day Men's Health. And whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, better husband, better man, better podcaster, better dog father, it's Game Day Men's Health. They want to support you on your journey, and they got personal care with family, locally owned clinics. They're all over the Chicagoland area. And look, even if you're 27 and above, it might be time to just check on what's going on inside. So take it from us. Head on over to Game Day Men's Health, Skokie, Naperville, Libertyville. Scan the QR code below right there to go to GameDay.com to find locations closest to you. Game Day Men's Health. Get your body right in 2026.
New Chevrolet models in store at Ray Chevrolet, and it's your chance to shop hot deals all month long during their auto show sales event. Stop in today, drive home with 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevrolet models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under 20 grand. And with one of the Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And shopping and selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're right there at the top. So you know you're going to get a great deal. And with Ray's Price Promise, they let you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. Don't miss out on their auto show sales event going on all month long for 0% financing for 72 months on all new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. Serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Was I milking a cow or driving a car?
Yeah, if you're watching that,
you were doing this Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I was doing the Kyle Tucker, right?
Kyle Tucker.
All right. Anyways, back here on the CHGO Cubs podcast, Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman, Luke Stuckmeyer, Sarah on the ones and twos, and you in the chat. Make sure you like this video and join us all week as we count down the days. Pitchers and catchers report in just a couple of days. Man. Opening day is 45 away. First game in 13 days. We get to go nuts on some rando in like 13 days, Luke. You kidding me right now?
Pop quiz. 45 days away from opening day. Give me a number 45 on the Cubs. Any
Chuck McElroy.
Sean Marshall, was he 45?
Something like that.
Sean Marshall was my guess. Yeah. Chuck McElroy. Nice pull,
Didn't
dude.
Paul Ossenmacher have no, was he 37? 48.
Can we go
Thank you,
with
Carm.
the White Sox? Oh, no.
Good to have you back, Carm.
Nice, guys. Good pulls.
Tell Carm to stay out of baseball business. Football guy now. All right, it is time for our Taking the Temp, and I do look forward to our Taking the Temp segment when we can say it's 83 here in Arizona, but today's Taking the Temp, where do the Cubs catchers stack up in the division? Your trusted local experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit Four Seasons Heatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons Heatingcooling.com. So where do the Cubs stack up in the Central with their combo catcher situation? And, I went through the zips this morning. I was looking at it. This little 30 seconds, for 30 seconds, we will give the nod to the Brewers saying, I think pretty easily they have the best. But we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to go 5-1, okay? We're going to start at the bottom. And there's only one, when you're talking about the bottom of the NL Central, there's only one place you can go. And you don't even need a name, because we know that the quote-unquote best fans in baseball are going to get one of the worst teams in baseball in 2026. And so we are ranking the 5th spot in the division for catcher, the Cardinals, because they are an irrelevant team. It does not matter who their catcher is. They've traded everybody away. They were irrelevant last year. They are irrelevant this year. Now, actually, Pedro Pajas is not a bad catcher. He might have ranked somewhere in the middle, but because the team is irrelevant, it just doesn't even matter who's their catcher. Frankly, Joey could be their catcher, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anybody from our CHGO softball team could be on that list. And by the way, Justin, back-to-back champions. I don't know if you're going to want to get involved with that this season. I'm too old to play.
Back-to-back. Three back-to-back.
And GM.
Only if you guys could have a left-handed first baseman that's a Gold Glover. Up to you guys, whatever. But let me know.
Oh wow! Because I heard Carr might retire.
You said that the Cardinals are an irrelevant team. I say irrelevant city as well. St. Louis is boring, and who wants to ever go there? And I agree. Like, why are we wasted too much time talking about number 5 right now. Let's move on because it is just irrelevant.
Yeah, and St. Louis, give me St. Nick, Santa Claus himself. What kind of a name is that town?
So who did we put number 4? Well, it's got to be the Pirates, right? Like, there's nothing. Henry Davis, I didn't even have to look up the stats. I know Henry Davis is just a guy. He's just a guy. Was a good prospect. Is he still a good prospect?
No.
Henry Davis, I mean, you're going from irrelevant to, well, he's not Mr. Irrelevant, but he's one step above him, whoever the Cardinals are going with Pajas.
But has decent pedigree, so like possible we haven't seen what he's capable of yet. So, number 4 is very much where he should be. Yes.
Yeah, in the minors, obviously had an OPS over 900. Definitely a defensive first catcher, the classic version of that. If you try to do StatCast fielding run value, he's right in the middle of the pack at the NL Central. The DRS fielding Bible, though, defensive run saves, has him second in the NL Central with 8 defensive run saves last year. So if you are the Pirates, right, like you just want a dude to handle the staff, a staff that you feel really positive about, that you think is your future. So Henry Davis is not scaring you with the stick. Let's put it that way.
So, I mean, 5 and 4 were pretty easy, right? 3, I think, is pretty clearly Tyler Stevenson, but how do you feel about Tyler Stevenson and the Reds? I've always thought he was going to be a better player. Then I went back and looked at the F-WAR, and you're like 1.1, and they're pretty much expecting the same season in zips from him next year. He hits some home runs. He's a nice enough catcher. But if I compare him to, say, Miguel Amaya, like if Miguel Amaya actually was healthy this year and played more games, I think Miguel Amaya's F-WAR would be higher than even the 1.1 with Stevenson. I keep thinking he's going to do better. So what do you think of Stevenson? I think pretty clearly that Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya together are number 2, but I think even Amaya alone or Kelly alone is better than Tyler Stevenson.
Yeah, the thing with Tyler Stevenson is he is the exact opposite of Henry Davis. He is an offensive first catcher, right? They have to play Jose Trevino a lot because of, frankly, Tyler Stevenson is absolutely horrible defensively. Fielding run value, -8 for Stevenson. Framing, -8 last year. Defensive run saved by fielding Bible, -4. He is a subpar defensive catcher. He is a guy that's driven in 50 runs over the last 3 seasons, something Carson Kelly did last year for the first time in his career. He's going to pop, 12, 13 home runs, but that's pretty much it, right? Like, so when we talk again about are the Cincinnati Reds dangerous? Like, yes, they have a lot of potential in the rotation. They have a couple pieces offensively. If they bounce back, could be pretty solid and decent, but like, what makes the Cubs cool and interesting are those details of defense, consistency, the things that the Cincinnati Reds lack. So Stevenson, I think, is 3rd. But yeah, defensively, he's perhaps the worst catcher in the NL Central. I'd say that.
I'm really excited about this Cubs catching duo, if you will. I think, don't forget, we signed Carson Kelly to be Miguel Amaya's backup, right? It just didn't work out that way. And Carson Kelly had a great year and all these different things, but I still really, really, really want to see a full year or a majority season of Miguel Amaya healthy. One of our former top prospects, and you saw when he was healthy, why he was that. It seemed like he kind of finally put it together, and them as a tandem was really, really good. But listen, Carson Kelly, I think is who he is, and he's great for us. I think he fits perfectly. I don't think we know yet what Miguel Amaya is, and I'm really hoping to find out this season. And I hope it really returns back to a Miguel Amaya as your starter and Carson Kelly is your backup. No matter how it shakes out, I agree. That tandem is number 2 in this division.
Yeah, Luke, Amaya Amaya in 2024 in the second half, when we were like, oh, this could be a guy that he's healthy, finally going to help us. /271 with a 316 on base, 444 for a catching position. Yeah. That's pretty damn good, especially with that slug. And when we're talking about Miguel Amaya, the reason why we're rooting for him is, A, he's a guy it's easy to root for. But Luke, he really is a guy that could be another small little X factor because, again, with Carson Kelly, first 199 at-bats and 899 OPS with 24 extra base hits. His final 170 at-bats, a 596 OPS, way subpar league average with only 7 extra base hits over his final 170. We like Carson Kelly, right? But I don't think he's a guy that's built for 162. And that's why Miguel Amaya in that combo is so important.
Well, what's interesting is, like Justin was saying, Carson Kelly was supposed to be the backup. It didn't play out because Miguel Amaya's had trouble, even way back to the minors, in staying healthy. He played in a handful of games. He really didn't have much of a season last year. But if you look at the stats and you go through it, there's one that sort of jumps out to me. And I'm not a numbers guy. But if you look at just WRC+, which is supposed to be the hitting stat that tells you sort of the most about guys, right? Miguel Amaya, of all the catchers in the Central last year, even though he only played in less than 30 games, his WRC plus was higher than any catcher in the division. That includes William Contreras. Now, Contreras hit 17 homers, so did Carson Kelly. We expect to have regression out of Carson Kelly. But if you look at Miguel Amaya, assuming he can stay remotely healthy, you see the exceeding projection side of Miguel Amaya. So while we might not get that season from a 2.6 F-WAR out of Carson Kelly, and Zips is saying he's only going to be 1.8 this year, you could guess that Miguel Amaya's 0.8, Zips is saying now 1.0. But if he actually stays healthy, I think Miguel Amaya hits way more than the 8 projected home runs. He had 4 last year and he barely played. So could I see a scenario where those roles almost flip next year, right? For lack of a better term, almost flip, that Miguel Amaya, if he's healthy, could pick up the offensive side and the extreme exceeding projections we got from Carson Kelly. What if they just kind of each go a little bit the other way, and hopefully Amaya goes a lot the other way in the health category? And I don't think it's actually crazy to say the combo could provide even more next year. I never would have said that before, but if Carson Kelly can do 75% of what he did last year, I do believe that if Amaya is healthy, he's going to crush what he did last year. And so on paper, I was thinking at the end of the season, well, boy, you can't count on catcher giving you that next year. Not so fast. Maybe you can. And I wasn't someone who said Yan Gomes was a mistake when they brought him back, and it was like, even though they found a pot of gold in Yan Gomes the first year. I don't feel that way about Kelly. I know you're getting a good defensive catcher, and I know the numbers weren't great in the second half. But man, that was he had as many home runs as William Contreras. Are you kidding me? Like, it's possible
too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I don't think the Cubs are going to have the best catching situation in the division. I believe that's Contreras. But that's what the Brewers hang their hat on. Catcher is like a last thought for the Cubs, and I think they're no worse than second in the division, even if Kelly regresses.
We're talking about a guy, whether it's Carson or Miguel, that's going to bat, 7th, 8th, or 9th? I mean, like, you're talking about a guy that's going to bat way down in the order. And I completely agree. Like I said, I think, Carson Kelly was signed here to be a backup catcher to Miguel Amaya. And if that can happen this year, I think Carson Kelly, he just wore down, are batting him cleanup. Like, why? I still hate Carson Kelly in the cleanup spot, but like he shouldn't have been playing as many games as he was. That's probably why his second half wasn't as good as his first half.
Mm-hmm.
But if Miguel Amaya is healthy, Carson's not playing as many games, and then I think that you flip flop it. Miguel Amaya is your starter, Carson Kelly's your backup, and it is not crazy to think that they could either at the very least stay the same production wise as a duo. But I do think there's more in there because Miguel Amaya, we don't know exactly what his full potential is. Health will play a big part in that.
Yeah, and you can maximize your offensive potential if you can get a little bit more matchup heavy with these two players and get them and put them in the best position to succeed. Really quick, I just want to shout out a comment from Chicago Dude. 8888. Cubs have a 90-win floor and a 91-win ceiling. I'd love to walk through that room.
Love it.
Can you imagine a ceiling that's right next to the floor? Mm-hmm. I think you'd be literally walking on your belly button. I got a question for you guys. It's just a tight floor to a ceiling.
Yeah, Justin could never fit in that house.
No
I'm
shot.
done.
No
I'm
shot
done.
for Justin. I got a question for you guys. Let's talk about the third catcher in the room, shall we?
Yeah.
I want to believe in spring training that the Cubs are going to give Moisés Ballesteros some run behind the plate.
Why not?
Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that he's going to be a guy that's going to catch 40 games for you. But could he catch every once in a while for you to get his bat into the lineup? Can he be serviceable enough behind the plate to get it done? If you look at Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya, frankly, defensively, the metrics say they're about league average. Carson Kelly, a couple defensive runs saved. Framing is a minus with ABS. Who knows where that goes? And sometimes when we're talking about stolen bases, a lot of that has to do with the pitcher more than it has to do with the catcher. Mm-hmm. But my question for both of you, and Luke, if you want to go first, is sometimes they will like to pair. Sometimes you pair a pitcher with a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
David Ross.
So my question for you is, if it's February, pitchers and catchers report in 3 days. If you could pair Moisés Ballesteros with one of the Cubs starters right now to have him work with just that one pitcher, and maybe on that day when he pitches, Moisés Ballesteros is behind the plate, who would that pitcher be for you?
So you're saying a personal catcher, which is exactly as you were starting to ask us the question, I was like, I wonder if they will go that route. The personal catcher route with him.
Have him work with one guy. Get really good at handling one guy, and we could throw you out there every other start of this one pitcher.
So for me, there's two ways of going with that if that's the way they want to do it. And first of all, what it does if you do that personal catcher is it limits the amount of voices, right? Like I don't need every pitcher trying to tell them everything they know. I want to simplify it because you're not going to be doing that much. Simplify the game a little bit. You're not going to try and learn all three outfield positions and third base and first base. Catcher, one pitcher, one piece of information, one coach. Here it is. There's two ways they can go with it. Number one is to pair him with somebody he's already caught at the minor league level. Somebody he's comfortable with and somebody that's comfortable with him so that you can grow that and the confidence level is already there. Now, you can still have a veteran trying to help that young catcher and that young pitcher, but is it already putting him on a platform where you say, hey, look, man, it's just Jackson Wiggins throwing to you, right? It's just Cade Horton throwing to you. Don't feel bad. It's simple. He doesn't have that many pitches. That's one route. The other route is to put him with somebody that you say, this guy's basically a coach. And no matter what he calls, we know this guy will shake him off and use pitch comments saying, no, this is what we need to do. And this is what we're going to do. For me, that guy is Taillon. For me, that guy is Jameson Taillon. And I would say, listen, Taillon is not our most important pitcher, but he's one of the smarter pitchers. He's been around the block. He's got plenty of experience in knowing what to throw. And if that catcher is going through some of the struggles of calling a game, Taillon is a guy that could kind of bring him along. And if they struggle a little bit together, like you said, twice a month, once a month, even, like it's just a Taillon start once a month, twice a month, and side sessions. It's not the end of the world. So in that way, I think it's a better move than pairing him with Wiggins or somebody that you would have had at the minor league level, because I don't want to put that pressure on the young pitcher either.
Right.
That they're trying to learn together at the same time. So I think if they do that, they should go the veteran route.
I think there's a third way that we have not talked about yet, and I will be the one to talk about it because I am Hispanic. I think that you put him with somebody who speaks his language and somebody who is a Latin player as well. And in our rotation, that's Edward Cabrera, right? So Mo Baller and Cabrera, there's a common language there. I think that Cabrera's new. He hasn't thrown to anybody, right? So like, it's not like he's used to Carson Kelly or anything. So I don't think they're going to do this, but I think there is a third option there of like putting him with someone that like culturally he's compatible with and they can speak the same language. So I think there's a third way there.
Yeah. And then
that.
Catching 97-mile-an-hour changeups is pretty easy, right? When there's a ton of swing and miss. My initial leaning was Taillon too, because I was trying to put myself in the perspective of the catcher of Taillon loves to throw first pitch strike. Mm-hmm. And also, is there a guy, and this is the tale as old as time with pitcher and catcher, is if I need to bury a pitch, can I trust my catcher to knock it down, to snuff it out and suffocate it? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd want to put Cade Horton and Moisés Ballesteros in a Cade Horton type of situation. Taillon has a slider. He likes to bury it every once in a while. But, Luke, I think you're onto something of where Taillon pretty much knows what he needs to do out there.
Yeah.
My honorable mention would also be Matthew Boyd, because Matthew Boyd's repertoire is basically up and in with the fastball, change up, and then he likes to throw that curveball every once in a while, but he does it early in the count where he doesn't always have to bury it. But I do think at the least, though, I would say that I think if for Moisés Ballesteros to be a catcher on this team, and I think it would be a great additive, right? It would be awesome to have days when Matt Shaw's playing third, Bregman's at DH, and Moisés Ballesteros is behind the plate. Yep. In theory, that's kind of like your best offensive mix that you could really ask for. I do think, though, that I think we're on to something that if Moisés Ballesteros is going to do it, I would have him work with just one guy.
Right.
And probably it'd be maybe the day where Moisés Ballesteros catches the first 6 innings, and I don't think we see him in a lot of 7, 8, 9s. You know what I mean?
So I want to piggyback what you said about Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd has a phenomenal pickoff move. So it kind of could hide some of the defensive blemishes that Ballesteros might possibly have, because Matthew Boyd can keep that runner super, super close because he has that phenomenal pickoff move. So I didn't really think about that, but if you're looking for a veteran who now can defensively help this catcher as well with his pickoff move, that is something to think about.
And I like Cabrera too, but my only hesitancy with Cabrera, Luke, is that Cabrera does have a hard time keeping runners on base. And Taillon also has a hard time, not keeping them on base, preventing them from steal. Cabrera and Taillon give up a lot of stolen bases. That's the other part. Would it be the gates fly open on the days when Moisés Ballesteros is behind the plate? Because Cabrera and Taillon sometimes struggle keeping guys at first base.
I mean, there is a scenario, too, where we get through spring training and it just doesn't work. It's not working. And then you have the non-roster invitees, which I know we could touch on that tomorrow, too. But, like, they have a bunch of catchers there because you have to have that depth at spring training because it's always by attrition. Somebody's always going to get hurt. And the Christian Bethancourt game could happen again. And he's on that list. So I ask you, when we talk about Mo Baller, and I think that's everybody's fantasy, is that he becomes at least the backup catcher to get some games that way. And all of a sudden we're looking at our Big Dumper, right? It's Big Dumper 2.0, the National League's Big Dumper. That's what we're hoping for. And frankly, the Brewers found their catcher. I don't know if everybody thought William Contreras was going to be the catcher that he turned out to be. Now, defensively, he was better than what we're seeing out of Bethancourt. Do we think Mo Baller has a better chance of succeeding at catcher than Christopher Morel at third or Kyle Schwarber behind the plate? Those are the two guys I can think of where we were like, ooh, what if we could turn this guy into like it actually worked with Carlos Marmol. And it actually worked with Wilson Contreras, who was not initially a catcher either. Yeah. So it's like, it's worked in other places, but the two where I go, wow, that seemed like a long shot. I mean, Schwartz did play it at college, but he just wasn't a great defensive player. And Morel, we thought he's athletic. He could play third base. And it was a little more difficult than we thought. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does he have a better chance than that?
That's okay. That's a great one. I have to give the edge, even though he was an abhorrent infielder. I have to give the edge to Christopher Morel because he had the most run out there.
Yes.
By hook or by crook, hell or high water, he was out there. He made a ton of mistakes. It wasn't great, but they at least got to the point where they're like, we're going to try and do this every day.
Because they needed it.
Yeah, I think Schwarber as a catcher. Yeah, Schwarber as a catcher felt like a non-starter from the jump. And I know, and I'm enjoying hoping and thinking that they give Moisés Ballesteros some run because I'm going to be honest with you, for people that are Mo Baller fans, I think him strictly being a DH this year is just going to inhibit him from having the type of season that I think that we're all wanting to have. I think we're going to be like, oh, wow, man, only 110 games, but he was healthy because he just couldn't, they had to rotate the DH position. So I want to see them try it at catcher because ultimately he is closer to the Schwarber. It's like, dude, figure out how to play a little first base or learn how to start playing left field, right? And that's maybe how I would rank them personally.
I think that Christopher Morel, that whole project at third base was because we needed a third baseman. We were dying for a third baseman, so we'll just try anybody there. Okay, Morel's athletic, whatever. We don't need a catcher. I think we just talked about we have probably the second best catching combo in the Central. So when it comes to Mo Baller, I like this hypothetical game we're playing, but I don't see him. I really don't see him catching very often, if at all. Okay. Now, Joey, you're right about the DH situation, but it's the same thing with Matt Shaw, where you're getting Matt Shaw, let's say 400 at bats, and that helps your team. Mo Baller as our DH against right-handed pitching is awesome. But there's a situation now where you got a lefty starter and you slide Bregman into the DH and you put Matt Shaw at third base. That's awesome. So I'm okay.
Or real quick, Seiya as the DH and then Matt Shaw in right field.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm expecting Mo Baller to be the DH for this team when we are facing right-handed pitching. I do not expect him to be the DH 24/7 like a Kyle Schwarber. I think it's going to be a very split-heavy with majority of those at-bats going to Mo Baller, and I think that's great. I think don't forget, he's also a young kid. Where it's not going to be superstar year one. So put him in the best spot to win. This team is built to allow him for a safe runaway, to take off. And I really feel like we're built for that. And that's how I envision Mo Baller. It's fun to talk about him catching, but I don't see it. But I mean, I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, the reason it's more like Schwarber and not like Morel too is they're in a winning window now.
Yes.
We all knew when Morel was trying it, it was just kind of like, hey, they're rebuilding and why not throw a little, something at the fan here and see if it sticks. Not now. You're not going to risk that as much unless he actually really worked on it, right? And I do give some guys a lot of credit for working on stuff in the offseason. So I'm not going to say he can't do it. All right, real quick. Today, before we go, is National Pizza Day. Are we going to overtime on this? Do you want to go overtime on this for 2 minutes? Should we go overtime for National Pizza Day?
Luke, the fact that you want to go to let's do it, baby. Let's just
should we go to overtime? Is that what we're saying? We want to go overtime for the pizza talk?
Hooray for Pizza Day.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we should go overtime. Okay.
We still have 2 minutes.
We still have 2 minutes? Oh, well, maybe we can squeeze that in. Okay. What are you putting on your pie? What's your order for pizza? And then tell me from where.
I'll go first. I'm a big fan of Lou Malnati's pizza. It's my favorite pizza, period. And they have a thing called the Lou, which is, I don't want to call it a veggie pizza, but it's like tomato, spinach, their butter crust. And it's actually called the Lou from Lou Malnati's deep dish, and is my go-to every single time with red pepper. And I love it.
Deep dish.
Yeah, okay. I'm also Lou Malnati's favorite pizza. Deep dish. I just do sausage, not sausage crumble, sausage patty, butter crust, uncut the way God intended. If we're talking tavern style, I'll be honest with you, load it up, baby. I'm a Supreme guy. Give me the bell pepper. Give me the sausage. Maybe the pepperoni, the onion on there too. I love fennel on my pizza. That's really good. And I'll give you, oh yeah, fennel's great. What are you talking about? And then the final one is, we used to sell this at a restaurant that I worked at in Santa Monica. It's actually a Let Us Entertain You place. It was a prosciutto and egg pizza. So you had Parmesan and Pecorino with a sunny side up egg in the middle of the pizza with thinly sliced prosciutto around the pizza. And then you cut it and you dip it. Don't knock it till you try, baby. It was really good. I've got that one too.
Luke?
I will tell you that in Arlington Heights, I've been going to either Tortorisi's or Wayne's. Tortorisi's or Wayne's. And I learned something from listening to Tom Waddle. He goes with the SOB, and it's my favorite pizza now. The sausage, onion, bacon. Crispy bacon, please. Crispy bacon, sausage, onion, bacon. But I will admit, I'm not against pineapple on a pizza. And I'm not against, I go pineapple, onion, Canadian bacon sometimes from Tortorisi's. And that is thin crust, delicious. Of course, tavern style. All right. I guess that's enough pizza talk for today's show. But we can, next time we can go a little bit over if we want to.
You can't see Luke's hands, but he's ordering a pizza right now.
No, actually, we logged on at about 1 o'clock, and then I went up and I had leftover Tortorisi's deep dish slice. And that was just sausage and onion.
I had leftover Lou Malnati's, not even knowing today was National Pizza Day. So see, something was in the sky.
That's right. Hey, don't forget to sign up for the trip real quick. And we will be there March 5th through 8th. And thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Thanks for watching in the chat. Thanks to everybody that listens. And don't forget, until tomorrow, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.